to all my brothers and sisters out there. My name is Olivia Shore, and I'm a Reiki master teacher and shamanic and intuitive healer, currently living in Okinawa, Japan. And I wanted to reach out today and share a little bit with all of you about my spiritual awakening journey and how I came to be here where I am in Japan at this time. About 3 years ago, I traveled to Pucallpa, Peru to sit with medicine woman Maestra Olivia, a shaman from the Shipibo tribe, and her family. And I was able to be there in ceremony and sacred ceremony with the land, with the master plants, and basically with myself, with very deep parts of my heart that I have basically overlooked, denied, run away from my entire life. So my time there was a very great spiritual awakening initiation into the shamanic path that I'm currently on. And shamanic path is not necessarily about being a medicine person or about being a shaman. It is simply about coming into right relationship with the earth, and in so doing, coming into right relationship with our own hearts and minds, and being able to essentially help others do the same. So after my time in Peru ended, I returned back to New York City to my full-time healing practice there, and I was able to do my best to integrate all of the lessons that I had learned in the Amazon, and integrate them into my healing work, into my ceremonies, my medicine ceremonies, into my tea ceremonies, into my Reiki classes, into every conversation that I had with each of my clients, and also my friends and my family. And I would say maybe a year after returning back to New York, I received word that the maestra was murdered. She was killed outside of her home in Pucallpa by one of her students or one of her patients. And this particular man was from the West, and he killed the maestra with a gun and shot her many times. And I want to share this with you now because of a very important lesson that I've learned from this incident, and also from the spirit of the maestra as she continues to guide me even now after her death, and even now after traveling here to Japan. So after processing that incident, it took me a few years to really understand what happened and why it happened. I was only able to really come into crystal clear clarity about it very recently. And that was when I first came here to Okinawa, which was almost 6 months ago, about 5.5 months ago. And I was out for a jog in the neighborhood, and I saw this beautiful flowering tree, and it was just so beautiful, and I wanted so badly to take one of the flowers home with me to put on my healing altar. And I ran up to it, and I found the one I wanted, and I just started tugging and tugging and tugging, and the flower wouldn't let go of the tree, and the tree wouldn't let go of the flower, and I wouldn't let go of the flower. And eventually I was able to rip off the flower. But in that moment, I felt something that was so deeply embedded in me that I never really had a chance to look at before. And it probably has a lot to do from the culture that I grew up in. But what I felt was like I had taken something that was not mine. I had taken something without permission, without asking for it. And while I was in the process of taking the flower, there was nothing that would get in the way of me having it, of me acquiring it. So what I did is I brought the flower home and I did indeed put it on my healing altar, but I, at that point, apologized to it. And I said I was very sorry for taking the flower without permission, and that I would never do that ever again, because I felt it was not right. It was not coming from right mind. It was not coming from a place where I really respected the life of this flower and that tree. So anyway, so I relate this back to the murder of the maestra, because at that time, the man who killed the maestra, he did not think or believe he was doing anything wrong. He simply wanted to take a life, and he had the means to do so, and nothing would get in the way of him doing what he wanted to do. And so he did what he wanted to do. And I don't believe, just like I don't believe that I did anything wrong by taking this flower from the tree, I don't believe this man did anything wrong. However, and this is something that I learned from my shamanic family in Peru, is that there's a law of consequence that exists in the universe. And anytime we take action from a place that is not in or from our right mind, which basically again means it's not from the place of deep respect and understanding for life, then we will suffer basically the consequences of that action until we learn how to come into right mind. So I feel that the lesson or the teaching that the maestra has given to me and has given to the world is really this teaching of how to respect life, how to respect the earth, how to respect ourselves and each other from a place of right mind, or from a place of unconditional respect and love and understanding of the law of consequence as well. So I share all of this with you now because we are now in a time of consequence, of great consequence. And again, it's not because anyone has done anything wrong. We only always do what we think is right, so that's why we do it. But to come to a place of understanding of how do I now come into my heart, come into my life, and think very deeply about any way that I have taken anything in my life from a place of entitlement or a place of greed or a place of disrespect, and learning from those incidents or learning from those actions, learning how to come into respect, how to come into deeper love for each other and for this amazing land that holds us day and night unconditionally. So I believe, and I say this because of the messages that I'm receiving from Spirit and from my ancestors, that this is a time of profound healing for the world, and it is a beautiful opportunity to come into right mind once and for all, so that we are able to then live our lives so fully, so majestically, so beautifully, and so full of life and health. When we're able to come into deep respect and love for the earth, and as we are connected to the earth because we are earth embodied, we are able to come into deeper harmony and understanding, communication with our bodies, with our cells, our organs, our tissues, our blood, our brains. And in being able to do this, we will be able to become more vibrant, to become healthier, and to become full of life, and to live our lives wonderfully. Being able to acquire, to be given all of the things that we want. So now I go running in my neighborhood, and all of these beautiful flowers just reach out to me, as if to say, take me, pick me, pick me, take me home. I want to go on your altar. I know I want to go. I think I'd be the prettiest thing on your altar. I know that sounds kind of childish, but that's actually what I hear from the life that is alive around me. And the more I come into deeper respect for life, life comes into deeper respect for me, meaning that whatever it is that I need and that I desire is given to me, and it's given to me fully and from a place of abundance. And that includes my health and my well-being. And so I share this with all of you now because it is a golden time to really take a moment to come into our hearts and to listen and to reflect and to see if there's a way, or if it's possible to go deeper and to respect ourselves a little bit more, to respect our environments a little bit more, to respect our loved ones and our friends a little bit more, without asking for anything in return, without expectation, just because it feels better in ourselves and our bodies to do so. And as we can do this, as we are able to do this more and more, we'll find that the environment and our bodies and each other will respond in kind. So thank you so much for your time and for listening and for coming into this sacred space with me now. I wish you all the most safety and love and harmony in your lives at this time. Much love, much light.